Congratulations, Artomatic, on your 20th anniversary. You first gave a Roadkill Opera a script testbed in 2004, and then our first public workshop with live musicians in 2012. From Artomatic, we went to the studio, to the GRAMMYs, to the world premiere performance at the Mead Theater Lab in Washington, D.C. Artomatic, you truly brought a Roadkill Opera from the page to the stage to a full performance with the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia. So thank you, and congratulations.
Hey, be quiet.
Right here, freshest roadkill all the way straight from New Hampshire. The freshest roadkill all around. Roadkill, get your frozen roadkill right here. Roadkill, it may look dead, but it'll make you feel alive. Roadkill!
Roadkill!
Where is that wascally wabbit?
Good morning, Mr. Fudd. Did you say you're looking for a rabbit?
Yeah, a wabbit.
I do have a freshly smashed rabbit.
Oh, excellent. Oh, by the way, I got you, Bugs.
Excuse me, did I hear you're selling roadkills on a stick?
Yes, ma'am. The finest roadkills this side of the state line.
Well, what would you do with a roadkill on a stick?
Most people enjoy them as an afternoon snack or an after-dinner treat.
Oh, that's disgusting.
They're quite healthy, actually.
Oh, I think I'm going to be sick.
Oh, don't go sick around my stand. Go over by the sub shop.
Oh. This is ridiculous. I mean, I ought to report you to the Chamber of Commerce, the Better Business Bureau, and the John Birch Society.
Hold on. I don't want to lose a sale here. They're not really roadkills.
They're not. What are they?
They're ice cream. Yes, of course they're ice cream.
Ice cream?
Healthy, wholesome, all-natural ice cream. Lovingly sculpted by skilled artisans to look exactly like an authentic roadkill.
Well, the rabbit and the chiseler looked a little too real to me.
Well, those are special flavors.
What?
Well, we have a whole assortment of special flavors. You see, now what you saw there was Chiseler Nut Crunch and Jackrabbit Rocky Road. Let's see, we also have Box Turtle Bonbons, Rattlesnake Pop-Ups, Raven Raspberry Retreads. My own personal favorite is Mule Deer Swirl. Oh, and House Cat Goo Goo Cluster. Oh. Did I mention they're all natural, too? Nothing artificial added except a dowel rod stuck up each one's ass.
Got it.
Yeah, we even have samples.
No, I don't think so.
That was the opening sketch for Roadkill on a Stick Frozen Food Theater Company out in Jacksonville, Wyoming. Back in '88, we actually had 8 weeks of consecutive shows, putting on stuff just like that. It was great, except for the opening night. About an hour before the show, things got a little bit crazy. I'm Marvin, by the way. I stage managed the show and helped out backstage, but I gotta tell you, some really bad things happened, some really weird things happened, and then a lot of singing happened. Nobody really knows what happened, but the bottom line is, I know what happened. So, you're gonna watch that. But first, the actors have to get through the first hour before opening night. Enjoy.
Maestro, how do you decide what kind of instrumentation? What goes into score analysis?
Well, first of all, Stephan, it's lovely to see you. I'm excited to be doing this. And you mentioned that first performance at Artomatic. This was the score I used right here. I have many subsequent versions of the score, but I went ahead and held on to the first one, of course. So for our considerations, it's the size of the space, you know, the size of the recording studio, and just sort of what sort of musical aesthetic we're going for. For the recording, we made the decision we wanted it to sound a little bit more like what the original Payer Opera Orchestra would have sounded like, which would have been a slightly smaller ensemble. So we used a smaller ensemble in the studio.
I particularly enjoy the music from Roadkill Opera, which is from Payer's Lenora, which is based on the same story that inspired Beethoven's Fidelio. I really enjoyed the opportunity to perform both the trumpet and the French horn parts. It was a challenge, but a lot of fun.
Let's move over here.
I know that many arts organizations and artists are facing challenges right now, but I'm actually really excited to see what comes of this creatively. I think the Roadkill Opera is such a good example of taking quality music and adding a modern libretto, a modern setting to appeal to a new audience, maybe a younger audience that wouldn't typically attend an opera performance. I think this kind of art also fits so well into a non-traditional venue, such as Artomatic, such as the outdoors, such as a virtual platform. These are all things that we are working with right now to stay creative and to reach our audience.
That's something that I hold dear, is the fact that, number one, orchestral music, classical music, symphonic music should be available to everybody. So we try to keep our ticket prices extremely affordable because it shouldn't just be for the elite, you know, much like what you were attempting to do with this opera, right? Just make it be accessible. And the other thing is it doesn't need to be stuffy. And so I love getting to plan seasons and plan concerts. So we've done lots of cool, innovative things. We did a concert called Symphonic Magic. We had timed out all of the music to go along with all of the aspects of his illusions, and miraculously, or through good planning, whatever, it worked out. And that was super, super cool. And that draws more people in, right? People who might not have come to see a symphony concert before, well, they might come to see this magician. We did a symphonic tap concert where instead of our soloist being a musician, he was a tap dancer, you know, who was incorporated right there into the orchestra, which was really neat. We had a concert planned with the Trapeze School of New York, Washington, D.C. So we were taking the entire orchestra to the big circus tent there, about 65 of us, and we were going to do a full, like, turn of the century style circus accompanied by a live symphony with flying trapeze and aerialists and jugglers, of course no animals, but that was another thing we'd been working on for like 18 months to try to put this concert together, because I love going to hear Beethoven and I love going to hear Mozart and Shostakovich and all this, but why not hear Beethoven with people flying through the air above you?
So beauty, 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 a beauty, beauty. Big house, big house, big house, big house, big house, big house. It must sell quite well. It must sell quite well. We must sell out the house.
So tell me now, what is the problem that I have?
A fart is a fine thing, it makes people smile. A fart is a fine thing, it makes for big laughter. Make it loud and make it plump and sweet and make it sticky. Like this. Like this. Quee, 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 quee.
Seriously?
I am serious, a heart attack. So listen up and listen up tight. You hear me? In a clearing needs a punchier line. Or ending.
Hold your horses. I think the sketch plays fine.
Sure it does, but
Marvin, your timing is perfect.
just hear out my singing, it's not really funny. Maybe if we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow. If we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow. If we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow.
This fellow's crazy. Oh no, this night is too important. So don't change the script on me now. This night is too important. So don't change the script on me now. Don't change the script on me now. Don't change the script on
Or how about a llama with your camera?
We are now to switch from the script which we staged and rehearsed, which takes place in Yellowstone Park.
Oh, don't be like this. Oh, don't be like this. Oh, don't be like this. It's a piece of cake.
It's a question of mocking, a question of mocking. You're freaking me out.
Perhaps a hissing lizard. Perhaps a hissing lizard. It could pick up the pace. Think of what it could do. It could spook out the bear. It could bite the bison. Or goose the moose.
Marvin, your timing is perfect.
Love it, love it.
Marvin,
Love it, love it. Love it, love it, love it.
I think
Just hear out my
it's
thing.
funny.
Hear out my
It's
thing.
funny.
Just hear out my thing. Just add a monkey, it will mean catch. If we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow. We'll get a cash cow. We'll get a cash cow. If we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow. If we add a monkey, we'll get a cash cow. Yes, sir. Get a cow, 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 get a cash cow.
Hi, I'm Stephan Parker. This is Ed Bachtel. We're with the Roadkill on a Stick Frozen Foods Theater Company. We hope you'll join us Friday the 13th of March at 11 p.m. at the Pink Corridor Theater when the Jackson Hole Community Theater Company proudly presents Roadkill, Greatest Hits, a comedy review. Tickets are just $5 and are available at Mostly Fun, Tobacco Row, Valley Bookstore, Video Express, and the Boardroom. Hope to see you there.
Rat Mitten?
No, Squash.
Rat Mitten.
Squash.
Stephan mentioned Val, and you guys will see some videos by some wonderful orchestra members and some wonderful crew members. The thing that's always been very nice with a Roadkill opera is it's never just been about the actors. We've always put together a wonderful orchestra and a wonderful crew, because it's like this in all performing arts, but in opera, even more so than anything else, if you don't have a good orchestra playing the music behind you, it can derail the entire performance, because opera is about the music. So I'm very glad that you guys will get to hear from some of the musicians and some of the crew members today, because they're such an integral part of the show.
When at the time we were doing all this, it was around Christmas time, and we're by Portrait Gallery, and they have their Holiday Market lined up across the gallery. Walk through it, see a llama-esque vendor who's selling little llamas, big llamas, llama stuff. And Stephan's like, hey, I'm looking for a llama. Okay, fantastic. I know of a vendor that I just passed by that's selling a whole bunch of llama stuff. Maybe you should go check them out. Okay, great, sure, not a problem. Next day, he comes in. Hey, look, I got this llama. And it's the biggest llama they had. And he's like, hey, look, the head comes on, see?
Rat mitten?
Squash.
Rat mitten?
Squash.
Rat mitten.
Squash.
Rat mitten.
Squash.
Rat mitten.
Squash.
Rat mitten.
Squash.
Okay, squash.
Hey, it's Jeff and Stephan. We're here at the Grammys representing for a Roadkill Opera and unveiling a Roadkill Opera DIY, do-it-yourself.
So do it.
So what's your plan for the opera this year and beyond?
Well, the main thing is to get more productions. And to get more productions, we've published all the music, and it's now available in the DIY package. The DIY package allows anybody to put on the opera. You just need 5 singers and 8, 9, 10 musicians. And this year, until Groundhog Day 2016, if you order one at 25% off, you get the second one for half price. So you get the whole arrangement, all the singing parts, conductor's parts, for all the instruments, $150. And you buy a second one for your crosstown rival for $75. How's that?
That sounds amazing. And I'm here to commit that the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia will be putting on a production of it at some point in the coming year.
Fantastic. And as an extra bonus, if you order it before midnight tonight, not only do you get all those things, you also get a Roadkill Opera DIY chopsticks, which you can use to eat roadkill, but much better use of them is conductor batons.
So I'm often asked, is this music difficult? And I'm here to say the music is difficult, but it's not unsingable, and it's also thoroughly enjoyable to opera lovers and to non-opera lovers alike. Your libretto is hysterically funny, and it tells a story, and the music that was written back in 1804 from Payer fits so beautifully with the things that you have done, and so your classical music lovers will like it, your opera music lovers will like it, and your random fans who maybe have never heard an opera before will like it as well. So this really is the complete package.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And speaking of complete packages, you not only conduct the recording, you sing tenor, and you play the timpani on it.
That is all absolutely correct, and I appreciate the opportunity to do it, and it just goes to show that really anybody can put this on. You only need a couple people, you need 5 singers like we said, and rumor tells that we are actually going to put out an option that can be done just with a piano as well.
Ooh, stay tuned. Back to you.
Thanks, everybody. We have a wonderful principal flautist in SONOVA, in the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia, who's lived an amazing life. You know, she was a professional flute player and then lived in France and was an orchestra contractor in France and then became a realtor and a transportation authority and like all these crazy things. And she knew Stephan from her work in transportation. And so Stephan had approached her about this new opera that he was working on. And so she put Stephan and I in touch, and we had lunch at the Corner Bakery in downtown DC, where I was given that score that's behind me. And I just remember reading through it, and even even more so than that, it wasn't the music, it wasn't the juxtaposition of genres that I've talked about. It was Stephan's passion for the project. And if you find somebody who's passionate about what they're doing, just always take the opportunity to work with them, because it's going to be such a cool experience. And that was really what it was for me, was seeing how excited you were about this. And here we are, like almost 10 years later, and we've gotten to go to the Grammys together, and we've done world premieres and done concerts with full symphonies and had some incredible opera singers sing this role. I mean, it's really been amazing. So I've always been very proud to be associated with it, and I look forward to continuing to do so. Yeah, so let's talk about the overture for a second. I vividly remember talking with Stephan about the fact that it was a little weird to have a 9-minute overture on a 59-minute opera. So what we decided to do is go ahead and record the whole thing. And that would give us the option to cut it or not cut it. And we also recorded an option with a cut in it, which cut about 4 minutes, out of it, because we wanted to give ourselves the opportunity and the flexibility, for whatever decision we wanted to make. And subsequently, we have performed the full overture for all of the performances, just because it's such great music, and it's a very typical overture, right? It takes most of the main themes that you're going to hear during the opera and puts them together in this nice overture. I just remember sitting there thinking, we're asking these people to come into a 59-minute opera, and 9 minutes of it, the first almost 10 minutes, is going to be overture. But then Stephan explained to me, he was like, this whole opera is kind of about incongruity. And so it was perfect to have this absurdly long overture for this, very fun and irreverent opera.
It started with a cold snap, 54 degrees below zero for a week. When it gets that cold, your nose hairs freeze as you breathe in. I was looking for a way to get some exercise without going outside. And I thought it'd be more pleasant with some music. So I thought, what's the longest piece of music I have? It's a classical piece, which I'd recorded off the air from FM radio station in Chicago my freshman year. But I was curious what it was, and it took me almost 30 years to track down at the Vienna State Opera House what that music was. Of course, they didn't know, but some of their former staffers at the started CD shop across the street, they knew, or at least one of their boyfriends knew. A month after they identified this, in 2003, I had in my hot little hands Leonora by Ferdinando Payer, picked up in a used bookstore in Minneapolis. So I ripped it to CD in order to try and fit lyrics to it. And I tried to think, well, I wanted it to sound the same in English as it did in the original Italian. So it says, oh, cello, to me sounds like no jello. And eventually, I decided, after I had enough of these bits and pieces, I thought, well, what story could I fit to these lyrics? I thought, well, there are 5 characters on this, and 3 of them are men and 2 of them are women. I had a comedy troupe back in Wyoming in the 80s, and it had 3 men and one woman in it. There was also women who worked the box office. So that's how a Roadkill Opera became about the opening night, the hour before the first show for the Roadkill on a Stick Frozen Foods Theater Company. Now that music, all I have is a recording. I needed to get from the original manuscript to something that can be played by people in modern day. And fortunately, I was able to find in 2008 that there was going to be a performance of Leonora in London, and reached out to the folks there who were putting that on. And They were kind enough to send me a PDF, and I went and listened to that with my wife, Deb, who had been the box office manager for us back in 1988. Artomatic 2000, all of the performing slots had already been booked. When Jay Marks, who was coordinating them, contacted me and put together a table read of one of my plays, On the Roof, The Old Heckingers. Jay Marks had spent his summers in Wyoming working the concession stand rodeos with his aunt, who went on to found Nora's Fish Creek Inn, where one of my plays was set. For Artomatic 2004, I presented the scripts for Loose Lips, which was set at Nora's Fish Creek Inn, and Two Cases, which concerned an artist trying to sell knockoffs of Marcel Duchamp's art. At Artomatic in 2004, we were able to show a preview, a mock-up of what the show would look like. I'd taken that recording from Minneapolis and superimposed my lyrics over it, showed it on a little Mac laptop. I got reach out from Warehouse Theater that they were interested in us bringing the show there when we were ready. A music rights attorney, a friend of mine from high school days, said otherwise. We would have to lay a new bed for the opera. So for the next 3 years, while searching for a score, we showed Deb's photos at Artomatic 2007-2008. Artomatic 2009, we had the script in hand based on the Bampton Opera's 2008 score. Played that same mock-up in 2011 at Artomatic in Frederick, and found that 10-year-olds really liked this music. And this little girl said, "Look, Daddy, it's an opera about farts." Of course, it's not an opera about farts. Leonora itself, of course, is the same story as Fidelio, Beethoven's own opera. Ferdinando Payer was a direct competitor of Beethoven. Actually, he came out with his version a year before Beethoven did, for the same client. But once I found that music, we were able to workshop it at Artomatic 2012 with the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia's music director, Jeffrey Dokken, recruited by flautist extraordinaire Martine Makosi. It went really well, so I asked him, well, what's the next step? We went to the studio and cut the demo. Jeff Grube said, let me get the balance right on this overture of yours. And he got it sounding so good. And they both agreed. It was a commercially releasable sound mix. We had to bring back the cast in 2s and 3s over the next 6 months. July 4th, we were able to release the recording in 2013. The next step was to try and get a live production. Our commercial release was so well received, we got invited to the GRAMMYs, which we attended in February 2015 and sat across the aisle from Weird Al Yankovic when he won. We shot a promotional video at the GRAMMYs where Jeff Dokken surprised me with an announcement that the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia would production in the coming year. We were able to then get a show in January 2016 at the Mead Theater Lab at Flashpoint in Washington, D.C. This is a cool venue. The Mead Foundation, of course, is behind the Mead Center for American Theater and various other programs around the country. We were able to use their facility. We had sold-out shows for both shows on Saturday and good full houses on Friday. And just an incredible cast. That went extremely well. We followed that up
with shows at the James Lee Community Theater in Falls Church, Virginia, with the full orchestra from the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia. From the first rehearsal in the workshops in Artomatic 2012 right through to the rehearsals for the 2016 full symphony performances in Falls Church, Virginia, we were really fortunate that Jeff Dokken was able to have Laura Wehrmeyer and David Timpane in the cast. Behind the scenes, Jeff Dokken also brought his technical crew, Christina Giles as lighting designer and technical director, Michal Kaufer as a production and stage manager, and Brooke Coleman as house manager. The deep bench that they have at the Symphony Orchestra of Northern Virginia came in really handy. When a cast member dropped out at the last minute, Jeff Dokken stepped up to sing, Kathy Augustine took up the baton and conducted rehearsal.
Copyright is a form of intellectual property that protects creative works like books, music, sound recordings, plays, photographs, drawings, and the like. The categories of works that are protected by copyright are very broad, and many types of works are included, but they're not all inclusive. So some things and some material, such as ideas, processes, systems, and methods, are not protected by copyright. In order for a work to be protected by copyright, it has to have three things. First, it must be independently created by the author, which means that it must originate from the author. It can't be copied from another work. It can't be copied from another source. The work also has to be sufficiently creative. And to meet this requirement, you only need a small amount of creativity. Not a high bar here, so just a little bit of creativity will do. And then the third requirement is that the work must be fixed in a tangible medium. That just means that the work has to be written down or recorded in some format or in some way so that it can be perceived or read or heard or viewed for more than a transitory duration of time. The copyright owner of a work has exclusive rights to the work. These exclusive rights give the owner a certain amount of control over the work. So the exclusive rights that the copyright owner has is the right to control reproduction, the right to prepare derivative works or adaptations of a work, the right to publicly display, publicly perform, and publicly distribute a work. Those are all the exclusive rights of the copyright owner. Works in the public domain are free to use without copyright restriction and serve as an important part of the life cycle of copyright. Many public domain works serve as inspiration for new and creative derivative works. But it's important to remember when using works that are in the public domain to go back to the original source and make sure you're only incorporating those elements that are no longer protected by copyright. If you create a new derivative work that's based on a public domain work, then you may have copyright protection in that new and creative material that you added to that public domain work. As long as the new material that you've added meets the requirements for copyright protection and it's sufficiently creative, it is original to you as the author, and it's fixed in a tangible medium, then you can also get protection, copyright protection for that new material that you've then added to the existing public domain work.
I was in the orchestra for the two 2016 performances, and I remember the theater we used for the January 2016 premiere was this nice little black box theater. And I gotta say, rehearsing and performing an opera about a dress rehearsal in a space that intimate is even more meta, which is super fun. Favorite track? First instinct is to go with Codpiece Dining because it's hysterical and fairly accurately captures the panic of a dress rehearsal. But I think I'm gonna go with Geo just for the memory of the older half of the pit orchestra trying to explain what the deal with a Geo is to the younger half of the orchestra. That was a fun couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's my absolute favorite thing about this opera is the marriage of the absurd lyrics, very well written, but intentionally absurd lyrics, with the just absolutely beautiful music. I mean, it is this, ridiculous juxtaposition. And that was one of the things that first attracted me to doing this. Is I'm a huge proponent of, mixing genres. And I mean, and this just did it so masterfully. And it really is a shame that Payer's music didn't catch on more, because it was really beautiful.
One of my favorite memories from performing a Roadkill opera is when we performed the fully staged versions, and I actually got to get a glimpse of some of the show. It was really fun to see how some of the comedy comes together. And I really enjoyed David's Stephan.
What you say? Change the set this. What you say? Change the set this. It's too late to change the set this. It's too late to change the set this. What you say? Change the set this. Change the set this. Change the set this. Whose big idea was this? You are getting late to copy. You are getting late to copy. And you know what that means, and you know what that means, don't you? Super latte, lots of frothing, just a hit, just in a bit. Lots of frothing, just a hit of cinnamon. We are ready. Tell me what's next. You like the best. Adrenaline, adventures. Adrenaline. Codpiece dining. We all agree that it will be codpiece dining room. And closes at the end of the first act. Feverzilla, it's gonna kill. Feverzilla, it's gonna kill. What about my breakfast with my breakfast with should it stay in the show even though it is a funny day? I assure you it belongs in tasteless, though it is. What a trivial room. I assure you it belongs in. What a trivial room. I assure you it belongs. There is comedy. There is comedy. There is comedy. You will think there is though it is. It is really grossly. It belongs in. You've convinced. Yes. It's no cod piece, this is true. It belongs in. You've convinced me. Feverzilla, gotta kill. Feverzilla, it's gotta kill. What about my breakfast with boo? Should it be in the show, even though it is a funny? I assure you it belongs. I assure you it belongs. I assure you it belongs. Tasteless, though it is. You convinced me that there is comedy in truth. You convinced me that there is comedy in truth. I assure you it belongs. Tasteless, though it is. There is comedy in truth. There is comedy in truth.
I still have my script, and I went through it to make sure I was actually remembering the numbers correctly. So there's butterflies, which is nice because you center in on somebody who's having their moment, and you just let her have her moment to appreciate what's going on with this. And then there's Geo. Yes, about the car.
Just a car, don't you know, that would thrill me. Just a car fast enough for some fun, not too fast. Just a bit that would thrill me. I need you for granddad. Not too fast, fast enough. I just want to find a car that I can give the granddad. heard, we both had heard something.
We both heard something.
There's no brain, there's no pain, there's no brain pain.
What is he saying? What is he saying now? Nothing will know. Can't believe this isn't right. How can they do this? It's so slow. How can they do this? I can't believe it. How can they do this? How can they do this? I can't believe it. They are such dunces for me.
We've got to focus now, we've got to stop this. We've got to get their attention now. They think we're finished, they don't know us. See? Oh boy, are they for a surprise. How can they really reach when it wasn't finished? Because we're really just getting warmed up. They think we're finished, they don't know us. See? Oh boy, are they for a surprise. They think we're finished, we'll show them what for. They think we're finished, let's check this out.
Please pardon me, I just heard about this. I have a way to protest. Here I suggest the center of vote, Old Westie's parade. The center of vote, Old Westie's parade. The governor, he will be here.
This is impossible.
That's what they tell me.
This is preposterous.
Take a number, will be so annoying and embarrassing in front of the gov. We can annoy in front of the gov.
We're patsies, patsies, patsies.
We can protest it, we can protest it.
We can protest it.
We can annoy them.
We can annoy them.
We can just push it all as far as it can go. Here.
Tonight, my friends, our stories will go to glory. To serve you is a pleasure. To serve you is a pleasure. We promise we will bring this old place to life once more. You think that to serve you is our pleasure, even if it kills us. Everyone gather round for a good time. Everyone gather round for a good time. Laugh at our expense, we're a private business. That doesn't mean we're not an for-profit. Save a seat for Harrison Ford. We sure hope he will stop in.
Watch the animals as they all come punching and plan their day. See the boatmen drink their breakfast. It's disgusting, that's for sure.
Thompson for the U.S. Naval Academy version of the U.S. National Anthem, of the U.S. National Song.
Everybody have a good time.
See Betsy for Harrison Ford.
Watch the animals all punching. See the boatmen drink their breakfast.
We're disgusting, that's for sure. So won't you come and watch us all as we play Ratminton, oh score! Play it at one time. Roadkill, stand up. There is one way to just there is one way to show us there is one way to show us saving this whole standing
Parker, who wrote the lyrics to the show.
Every performance of the Roadkill on a Stick Frozen Foods Theater Company in Jackson Hole from 1988 to 1992 ended with the national anthem being performed by Mr. Ed Bochtel, U.S. Navy, retired, playing the national anthem by harmonica through his nose. Tonight is no exception.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please rise and place your hands over your hearts as Mr. Ed Bochtel performs the official U.S. Nasal Academy version of our national anthem.
Having an old dim.
Hey, you think I'm kidding? I told you we'd get a standing ovation.
Oh, would you like globular, dude?